What is going on, viewers of YouTube? Sunspot here, guys. My review of the NECA video game appearance, King of the Monsters Godzilla collectible figure. As per usual, I do want to highlight the packaging, and as usual with these video game appearance figures by NECA, it is very, very impressive. We do have this wonderful, wonderful concept image of the original concept art of the video game Godzilla. God, he's so pretty. With the spaceships and the lightning in the background and how he's just freaking using his laser breath and everything. It's so freaking beautiful to say Godzilla, a monster of monsters, and it's just looking so cool. I love the red, like, is that lava? I think it's lava in the corners and stuff behind him. It's looking so fluid and just really retro, which I like. You have the official NECA seal of quality, because you can never not have that. Top of the box just says Godzilla with a little bit of battle damage. Sides of the box just says Godzilla with the NECA logo. And same goes for the other side. Back of the box is also very retro. It does say Godzilla Monster of Monsters. The great movie monster is an action figure. Looking pretty badass. To show some of its features. The hinged jaw, articulated tail, and just the overall figure. There's a nice little pixelated image of Godzilla looking absolutely adorable. And a biography of the character. If you like and pause and read that now, you can. Now, the big thing about the video game appearance figures is that the box can actually open. It is held on Velcro in the front here. You just remove it, and you see it's looking pretty damn neat. I really love what they did with this open flap here. It's kind of like the map of where Godzilla will go. Again, I didn't play the video game. I'm very sorry if I don't know what everything means in here. All I know is that it is from the game. Everything is a reference to it, especially here at the top to say Godzilla Power and Life, level 1, and several numbers and bars indicating of what his health and his powers are at the time in the game. And in the background of the window seal, you can see that there is a very, really cool pixelated background of where Godzilla would fight. You know, there's some mountains, rocks. I'm not sure if this is taking place, you know, on Earth. Again, I didn't play the video game, so if you guys did, please leave a comment below of what this all really means. As for the figure himself, this guy is looking pretty damn good. I have to say that this is probably the best repaint we have gotten from any type of NECA figure in recent years. Let's take a closer look. As for the head sculpt, it's looking pretty good. I really love what they did with the paint apps on this. As you guys may know, this is just a complete reuse of the mold of the 1985 Godzillas, minus the spikes back here, which I'll get to later in the video. But it's not focusing. But the main thing here is the paint apps, and I think they did just a wonderful job, especially on the head. I really like this kind of bluish, purplish stripe on the middle spike here on his forehead, running down the back of his neck, looking absolutely stunning. Really love what they did with the eyes, how it's just, you know, it's very pitch blood red with that like little dot of black, and maybe it's a shade of purple and green as well. It's really hard to tell. I'm not sure how it's appearing on camera, and I just love the different shades of blue and purple and white they use going all around the head, and there's a little shade of gray there actually, which I found kind of neat, and it's just, it all blends really well. I do like how in the crevices it's very darkened and stuff, and the teeth are a mix of gray, yellow, and white. It's a really weird combination, but it's wonderfully sculpted. Each tooth is sculpted individually, and the tongue has that, again, that pitch red, which is just really gorgeous. And what is actually interesting, in the middle of the tongue, in that crease, I don't know how it's appearing on camera, but it's actually darkened, which is always nice. Just attention to detail is fabulous. And one thing I have a problem with is the separate neck joint always just falls out of line with the actual head, so you just got to fix that. And you can tell there are little squares of white and gray and black and such just going all around. And again, this is supposed to give that pixelated look of how he did in the video game, and I think they did just a fantastic job of replicating that. And same goes for the rest of the figure. Again, the mix of blue and white is just really spectacular, and it's appearing very shiny and just like lit up on camera. In person, this is really impressive what they did with the color scheme going around. I love what they did with scales and how each scale is colored individually, or at least a variation of the two colors given on the figure, at least on the body, aside from the spikes. And I do like all the squares and stuff giving that pixelated appearance, and it's just looking so freaking cool. I always wanted a Godzilla figure that was just different, you know what I mean? And a video game appearance is just perfect. And you know, his belly, you know, he a little bit chubby up front. No need to make fun of Mr. Godzilla or the Big G, but yeah, he got a little chubby here. No need to, you know, judge him. And great detail on the hands, on the nails. Just, ow, I poked myself. Just be careful. You will poke yourself on this figure. Just, I love everything they did with this, and moving down again, that pixelated look with the shade of very ocean, maybe a little lighter than ocean blue, and more of that purple and black mix and stuff, and going down to the feet and the calves and stuff. God, he got really chubby down here. You gotta get away from them Skittles, and the nails are painted really beautifully, which I do appreciate, how the foot is kind of separated between that purple black and the light blue. It's just all looking really great. Tail was sculpted and painted with the utmost care. You could tell the spikes painted very nicely. Love what they did with this. Got a little lazy back here, we'll admit. You know, not much paint scheme going on there, just that solid white blue, but it's mainly consistent up here and going upwards, and under it he's got that, you know, black and purplish scheme, which is just really beautiful. As for these spikes, now these are gigantic. I actually didn't expect them to remold the spikes, considering, you know, why not just use the entire mold of the the 85 Godzilla, just, you know, leave it how it is. But no, they actually took the time and remolded the spikes, which is really just, it's just a great thing to do for Godzilla fans, and I love what they did. It's just like, it's so badass. It's like, it's practically as thick as his body. It's pretty intense, and I love the pixelated look with the different variations of blue, gray, and etc. That they put on each spike, and it's just looking absolutely stunning and just pretty badass. As for articulation, as usual, the Godzilla figures are just filled with articulation, especially in the tail. Like, you know, I'll say that in every Godzilla review. But first off, the hidden jaw. It can go out that much and close that much. You know, pretty simple. His head joint can move the full 360, can go forward that much, back that much, or up that much, I guess. Side to side, it can wobble, do whatever you want. The separate neck joint can also move the full 360, as well as go forward that much, back that much, side to side, you know, the usual. His arms, this one's feeling a bit loose, so I'm going to mess around with this one. It could do the full 360, careful not to wear off the paint, forward, back, out, and in. He does have about, not really 90-degree rotation, but it can, you know, stretch out. It can also move the full 360 again. It's very stiff, which is good. You know, it's always good to have stiff joints, especially in NECA figures, they'll just break. Wrists can fully rotate, those go out and in, left and right. His waist, he moved that much forward, not much, back that much. It's hindered by the spikes, obviously, and wobble left and right. As far as his legs go, he can do the full 360 at the thigh waist area, and again, I really don't recommend it just because it'll wear off the paint. He could almost do the splits, not really. You can go forward, back, however you want. The knees are really tough to get to. I barely did that. It's really tough. He's kind of a fat figure, can barely do any type of angle, but it's pretty good for a Godzilla. And the feet do have an ankle pivot as well as a forward and back rotation. As per usual with these Godzilla figures, the articulated tail is basically really, okay, I don't want to say it's the main feature, but it's a pretty big feature. It has tons of joints just going all the way down this with this rubber end here. That's where you actually plug it in, because the tail does come separate in the box, kind of like an accessory. But, you know, it can move 360, you can go up and down, left and right, however you want with each and every one of these joints. As for size, this guy does scale pretty well with the other NECA figures. I do have the NECA Burning Godzilla here, and I actually like putting these two next to each other just because the Burning Godzilla, before we got this video game appearance one, was really he kind of stood out in the collection, so I just love how these two look together. Very fluid. And for a bit more reference, here he is next to the 85 Godzilla, of which he is remolded of. You can see exactly the same. Spikes are different. This one's obviously way bigger, and this one's kind of like, you know, just tiny. Here is Godzilla next to your standard NECA figure. I do have the City Hunter, and you can see that he is much, much shorter. Not really in scale. And here he is next to my alpaca. So overall, this is highly recommended. Believe me, you want this in your collection. This is the most unique Godzilla figure I have gotten in many, many years of collecting. So if you see this at your local Toys R Us or online, wherever, pick this up. This is a must-have. And with that said, people, if you did enjoy this video, please like, subscribe, comment, do whatever you viewers do on a daily basis, and I will see you guys in my next video.